As enjoyable as it is to be friendly and respectful while playing with other gamers, it's often a little bit more tempting and fun to do everything that we can to wreck their day in imaginative ways. And luckily for us, some games are more than happy to let us indulge in our evil side. I'm Josh from WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 video games that let you brutally mess with other players. Number 10, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Taken Hostage. Now, it's never been particularly hard to find ways to troll players in a competitive multiplayer game. Call of Duty is, of course, no different, with players indulging in a whole host of classic shenanigans to humiliate the opposing team, or, let's face it, the team that they are allegedly on. With Black Ops 6, though, Activision seemingly thought players online didn't have enough tools to brutally mess with each other, and so introduced a new mechanic to the multiplayer suite. This year's COD allowed you to take an enemy as a human shield, essentially taking another player hostage to drag them around the map. Now, that in itself isn't too noteworthy, but the devs also made it so that anyone engaging in this devious act would also be able to talk to each other via proxy chat, something not otherwise available. As such, it didn't take long for players to start to abuse this system, trash-talking helpless victims who could do nothing other than race for the mute button. Number 9, Assassin's Creed 3, Pretending to be an NPC. Although it's rarely considered a high point or fan favorite of the franchise, 2012's Assassin's Creed 3 still has a lot to like. That includes one standout multiplayer feature, the ability to disguise yourself as an NPC as you avoid detection and execution while playing the online mode called Wanted. Specifically, the mode, carried over from 2010's Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, builds upon the online multiplayer's overarching customization options by having targets cloak themselves as just another seemingly innocuous resident of the town. Obviously, this requires a more methodical and patient approach to win compared to other multiplayer options. But the gimmick also lends itself to toying with other gamers because the entire point is to blend into crowds to keep pursuers clueless and enraged as they become increasingly hopeless in their hunt. If you're sufficiently smart and stealthy enough, you can emulate NPCs effectively enough to interact with the world without being noticed by anyone. What's more, you can sneakily assassinate players or lure them into a deadly ambush, not to mention get them to kill innocent bystanders and subsequently grow unbearably paranoid. Number 8, Dark Souls, leaving fraudulent notes and items. The Dark Souls community is something special, and through the game's online messaging system, players can leave each other notices about how to get around difficult traps or bosses, or give them hints on where to go next. Or, as is often the case, they can also use the messaging system to intentionally cause you some misery. Enticingly cheap, yet catastrophic ways to do this include advising adventurers to jump from cliffs, slide into bottomless holes, and enter seemingly empty rooms, unarmed of course, that are full of enemies on the promise of achieving some secret award. Hell, if you're playing multiplayer, you can even invade their world to turn into an inanimate object and then pounce on them as they helplessly pass you by. On a less detrimental but equally irritating level, you can simply point out blatantly apparent things about the location, such as the unmissable existence of rocks, trees, and bonfires. Honestly, the possibilities are kind of endless. Number 7, Apex Legends, playing around with portals. Apex Legends is a premier battle royale experience, and a major reason why is its use of portals to send combatants places they may or may not want to go. Of course, with this, we're referring to Wraith's ultimate ability, Dimensional Rift. When employed, she can connect any two areas on the map, permitting travelers to arrive at their new destination multiple times faster than they could have otherwise. As such, Dimensional Rift is ripe for silly or advantageous trolling by whomever is controlling Wraith. Chiefly, she can trick buddies and foes alike into being teleported off a cliff into an enemy camp. The more appealing the hoax, such as luring them with the promise of vital resources, the more enjoyably nefarious the prank becomes. Perhaps Wraith wants to send them far away from where the battle is happening, be that the outskirts of the area or high above the land, thereby requiring them to waste precious moments returning to the action. Alternatively, she can use a portal to block an enemy's line of sight or set the destination to the middle of another team's home base, so of course that she can take out several people before they realize what's happened and retaliate. Number 6. Rust, survival of the fittest, or meanest. Wilderness survival shooter Rust is a breeding ground for malicious intentions and irritating practices because it's a multiplayer-only experience that pits gamers against each other. Specifically, entire clans can set out to patrol certain areas, thereby getting in another person's way or even raiding, looting, and attacking them without provocation. If those aggressors are significantly more powerful than their targets, there's little chance that they can be stopped as well. On a larger scale, these assailants might take it upon themselves to destroy your vehicles as soon as you get them ready for an important trek, or they might send attack aircrafts against you, or hide auto turrets in random areas to gun you down while you're minding your own business during a leisurely stroll. Similarly, players can bait you with airdrops and then pocket all of the loot when you're mere inches from reaping the rewards. And if they want to be really petty, they can place traps around your base and cause excessive noise with fireworks, car horns, and other loud nuisances as well. Number 5. Euro Truck Simulator 2 Epic Traffic Jams. 2012's Euro Truck Simulator 2 does exactly what its title indicates by allowing players to choose from a variety of trucks with which to haul cargo from one place in Europe to the next. After a certain point though, gamers can hire other drivers to do their dirty work as well, and along the way they'll need to consider different expenses as they prioritize arriving at their destination as quickly and as safely as possible. On paper, the game should be full of simple and relaxing voyages across Greece, Italy, France, and other European countries, but just like in real life, leisurely trips can be disrupted by the disgruntlement of other drivers. In particular, Euro Truck Simulator 2's multiplayer modes, which can incorporate various user-created mods, are ripe with motorists who are determined to complicate your journey by driving too slowly, ramming or blocking other vehicles, and/or causing massive traffic jams. In the best scenarios, they'll do this just for fun, and in the worst, they'll do it to extort other players for money or other items, thereby holding them hostage until they pay for passage. Afterwards, plenty of horn honking will ensue, which will either be funny or infuriating depending on your perspective. Number 4. Red Dead Online, Hogtied and Harassed. By no means as populated or as content-rich as its Grand Theft Auto counterpart, Red Dead Online emerged around the same time as its single-player sibling, 2018's Red Dead Redemption 2. In keeping with its fairly realistic depiction of the end of Wild West America, it affords outlaws the opportunity to be wholly kind-hearted and cooperative, wholly vindictive and problematic, or anything in between. Aside from shooting and stabbing everyone they see though, many bandits will relentlessly hunt and hogtie every cowboy who crosses their path. Once they do, they can either leave them alone to cut their way out of their constraints, which is sufficiently annoying and inconvenient in and of itself, or kill them by tossing them off a cliff or placing them in front of an alligator, or even the classic, the oncoming train. With a little ingenuity, it's also possible to hold people underwater until they drown if you're feeling particularly sadistic. And of course, if you just want to replicate your favorite scene from Furiosa, you can lasso people and drag them for miles on horseback. Highly skilled players can even mod the game to cause all kinds of mayhem, such as manipulating vehicles and animals or adding incongruous new ones, and trapping fellow gunslingers in continuous explosions. Number 3. Animal Crossing New Horizons, Messing with Other Islands. When it released in March of 2020, Animal Crossing New Horizons became a massive hit during a time where we all needed something to occupy our minds. After all, players can relax while spending hundreds of hours fishing, decorating, gardening, listening to calming music, and generally just chilling out on their personalized virtual island. Friends and strangers alike can even bond by exploring each other's homes, sharing resources, and doing other things to strengthen their social connections. And you might be thinking, well, what's cozier than that? Well, in providing such an open means of access, however, Animal Crossing New Horizons also allows villagers with mischievous intentions to run amok across any new location that'll have them. Primarily, they can alter landscapes in varied and sometimes detrimental ways, including chopping down trees, removing flowers, and digging holes to completely disrupt the vibe and ecosystem of their host's home. Plus, visitors can suddenly steal or mysteriously leave all sorts of items around the place, write misleading or antagonizing notes on bulletin boards, and even convince neighbors to move entirely. Therefore, it's entirely possible for the villager who owns the island to be completely confused, upset, and even harmed by what their guest does when they're visiting. Number 2, Super Mario Maker 2, excessive challenge and just outright bizarreness. Super Mario Maker 2 encourages a limitless creativity and skill by giving players numerous tools and foundations with which to construct levels, and they can then share their creations online for others to complete. Naturally, this can lead to simple and traditional runs that barely present anything demanding or surprising. But on the other hand, having a robust and boundless playground at their disposal can lead people to craft all sorts of excessively challenging and bizarre stages with the sole purpose of irritating anyone who's brave enough to give them a go. And the options to do this are truly infinite, like I said, ranging from basic tactics, such as throwing too many enemies at them or requiring them to rush through excessive amounts of impossible hazards and jumps, to more ingenious roadblocks, such as forcing them to backtrack while searching aimlessly for hidden keys and exits. There are other conditions that can be set too, such as obligating them to kill every single enemy, sustain no damage, or make it through without jumping. Number 1, The Last of Us Faction's multifaceted toxicity. The original Last of Us was of course renowned for its gripping single-player mode, but also, if you have forgotten, for its surprisingly superb multiplayer component, Factions. Remarkably as well, Factions maintains the anxiety and urgency of the post-apocalyptic narrative by setting two sides, hunters and fireflies, against each other in a skirmish to survive. Both deathmatch modes, supply raid and survivors, as well as the game's take on search and destroy, interrogation, remain dynamic, tense, and addictive. And if people play nicely, matches go well, but far too often, the exact opposite happens. In fact, it isn't uncommon for teammates to steal kills or encourage each other to venture into harm's way for a quick execution, only to find that no one is there to revive them when they're in a down state. Other times, teammates intentionally ignore the rules and objectives just to be jerks as well. Obviously, the age-old methods of camping and hiding traps for easy slaughters that'll also confuse whoever gets taken out still work, and it's even possible to exploit bugs by shooting tagged enemies through walls. Adding insult to injury, it can be a cesspool of put-downs delivered through voice chats and messages. Therefore, The Last of Us Factions lends itself to brutally messing with players physically and psychologically.